How are you all? I hope you all are safe at home. In the previous session, we have discussed about the different disease-causing microorganisms. Under harmful microorganisms, we have discussed about the disease-causing microorganisms. Once again, we will recall the topic. So, disease-causing microorganisms. Once we will recall. So microorganisms, they are harmful to us in two different ways. What are they, Chaitanya? How the microorganisms are harmful for us?
By causing diseases.
Yes.
And in food spoilage.
They cause spoilage of food. Good. And here, the disease-causing microorganisms we have discussed in the previous class. Once again, we will recall the topic. So what are the disease-causing microorganisms? So how they are going to cause, how they are going to spread, we have discussed. So what are the different ways by which these microorganisms are going to spread? So microorganisms which cause diseases, which are able to cause diseases, we call those microorganisms as pathogens. So what are pathogens? etc. Okay. So chickenpox, ringworm, etc. We are having a number of examples under direct contact. So next comes another one.
Insects.
Through insects. So through insects. So insects. So insects, they act as carriers or vectors which help the microorganism to move from one person, sick person to the healthy person, or the infected person to the healthy person. So these insects act as vectors or the carriers. So examples we can give like malaria, diseases like malaria, dengue, etc. They will spread. Chikungunya also we can give. Example, chikungunya. And even diarrhea. That means the diarrheal diseases also they spread through these insects. Okay. Under the food and what we can also give cholera here. And next comes the cut and wounds. Whenever any cut or wound is formed on our body, so through that cut or wound also the microorganisms from the air or as when our skin comes in contact with the soil, they enters into our body through cuts or wounds. So through cuts and wounds also the infections or the disease causing pathogens can transmit from one person to another person. Example we can give tetanus. Tetanus. Okay. And this is all about the human beings. In human beings, how the diseases are communicable from one person to the another person, or spread from one person to the another person. So through air, food and water, direct contact, insects, and the last one we are having the cuts and wounds. And next comes in case of plants and animals. We have discussed about different diseases that are caused by microorganisms in plants as well as animals. In case of animals, we have discussed about anthrax disease, which is caused by the bacterium, anthrax bacterium. So bacillus, which is a bacterium, that bacterium causes anthrax. So anthrax is caused by the bacterium bacillus anthracis, which is a dreadful infection that mainly occurs in human beings as well as in cattle. So anthrax, which mainly spread through air. The anthrax disease spreads through air. Okay. And next comes another one I have discussed in the previous class. One more example, that is foot and mouth disease. Foot and mouth disease. So foot and mouth disease is caused by virus and which can infect cattle. Okay. It is caused by the virus foot and mouth disease virus, which causes foot and mouth disease in cattle, which is a virus which causes foot and mouth disease in cattle. Okay. And in case of plants, we have discussed different examples like first one, citrus canker. Citrus canker is caused disease that is spread through mosquitoes. That is nothing but malaria and certain types of dengue fever. Okay. And next one, another thing regarding food, we have to cover the food with lids and we have to do proper cooking. While cooking also we have to be very careful. We have to wash the vegetables properly before cooking. Okay, before peeling or cutting them, so that we can prevent the contamination of food and we can stop the transmission of microorganisms. That means we can control the microorganisms and thus we can prevent the microorganisms in such a way that they may not transmit any disease through food, water and air. Okay, this is all about the previous class, and now we are discussing about the second concept under the harmful microorganisms, that is food spoilage. That means certain types of microorganisms, they are harmful as they are harmful that they make the food unfit for consumption. So, food spoilage. What is food spoilage? What is food spoilage?
When microorganisms enter the food and they damage the food.
Yes.
And so not
And
make
make our body
Okay.
unwell.
Yes. So food, that means food spoilage means, in this case, what happens? The microorganisms that enter into the food causes contamination food. That means when the microorganisms enters into the food, we can say that the food is contaminated. So such food is not suggestible to eat. And not only that, this particular microorganisms will bring about some changes in the food. Not only entering into the food material, they grow there and they will cause some changes in the food so that that food is not suitable for our consumption. If you eat such food, if you eat the contaminated food that contains microorganisms, will get some ill effects. So in order to control them, we have to prevent the microbial growth, or we can control the growth of the microorganisms in the food. So that was spoilage of the food materials. So what are the different microorganisms that cause spoilage of food materials? We can say bacteria and fungi. Bacteria and fungi. They are responsible for causing spoilage of food. If you consider bacteria, this bacteria, they will cause different changes in the food materials. Like we can say souring of milk. What is souring of milk? What is souring of milk? Souring means sour taste. Souring of milk. Pulupu. The milk ఏమవుతుంది? పుల్లగా మారిపోతుంది. The egg when it is rotten. Kullipoina egg smell vastundi. Okay, that smell will get. Okay. Now next one we are having another one, rotting of. Third one we have discussed about. First one souring, second one putrefaction, and third one we are having rotting of potatoes and other vegetables. Rotting of potatoes and other vegetables. So what is rotting? What is rotting? What is rotting? The organisms, the microorganisms. The organisms, they will grow there and they will disintegrate. They will disintegrate the tissues. Plant tissue material will be disintegrated. Disintegrated means they will break down they will separate the cells present in the tissue. So because of that, what happens? That particular plant material has been disturbed. At the same time, this microorganisms they will cause degradation of or decomposition of organic matter. So we here also will get some bad smell. In case of potatoes, we will get solanine smell. What type of smell we will get due to rotting? Solanine smell. It is a special type of odor we get due to the rotting of potatoes. We can also observe rotting of tomatoes also. So when tomato has been spoiled, we get a type of smell. We can observe a type of bad odor coming from it. If you take that spoiled tomato and keep it near the nose, we can get bad odor. So that is not, yes. Okay, understood? So this is about the bacteria, how they used to cause spoilage of different food materials. So under bacteria we have discussed about souring of milk, putrefaction of meat, and we have discussed about rotting of potatoes. So many examples are there, but we have discussed only few examples. Next, coming to the fungi. So we are having two types of fungi. One is unicellular fungi and multicellular fungi. So if you consider the unicellular fungi, the unicellular fungi is nothing but yeast. If you consider multicellular fungi, the multicellular fungi is nothing but molds. Okay? So fungi are of two types. There are of two types. One are unicellular fungi, nothing but yeast, and second one multicellular fungi, they are nothing but molds. Okay? So under yeast, this yeast generally causes, yes, afterwards I will discuss. This yeast generally causes fermentation. How does yeast may spoil the food materials? They generally cause fermentation. So yeast may spoil certain fruit juices, tomato juices, tomato juices. Okay, this yeast may cause fermentation. By causing fermentation, by undergoing, they may cause fermentation of the food materials. Like we can say the fruit juices and tomato juice will be fermented by the yeast and make this fruit juice or the tomato juice. And so many examples are there. We have given the list examples. So by making these fruit juices and tomato juice by fermentation process, they will make that food materials unsuitable or unfit for consumption. Next comes the moss. We can say one best example that short time period we are subjecting the food material. Especially this heating melting process can be used for milk and water for the partial sterilization. Partial sterilization means we are subjecting the food material to high temperature for a short time. So this temperature, the temperature will be about is more than, it may exceed than 135, it may exceed 135 degrees Celsius, and we are subjecting those materials for only 1 to 2 seconds, very short time. Okay, and this temperature we can call this partial sterilization, we can call this temperature treatment as ultra heat treatment. This treatment process we can call it as ultra heat treatment. This heating treatment we can call it as ultra heat treatment. In this ultra heat treatment, we subject the food materials, like generally it is used for milk and water sterilization. It's a partial sterilization process where we subject them to more than 135 degrees Celsius for about 1 to 2 seconds in order to kill the microorganisms. And here we can apply this ultra heat treatment. This process, this heating process, we are going to call it as ultra heat treatment. So that is simply we can call it in a short form we can write it as UHT. Okay, and this process, this ultra heat treatment is generally used for milk, for the treatment of milk, and this milk can be stored in this ultra heat treated milk will be stored in the